Yeah, welcome back to the firehouse for some more firehouse reasoning from the bushes of deep Congo. Yeah, some right down there in the Congo where witch doctors or bush doctors, if you want to call them, operate in the paradigm of the fire. So from the firehouse tonight, I'll be, like when we was babies, we automatically do things. We learn how to crawl, and then eventually we learn how to walk. But it's a very difficult thing now to be born as a spiritual being, if you know what I mean. Because then you'll have to learn how to walk, if you know what I mean. But as far as I am concerned from the fire, you are not even born again then, if you know what I mean. Never mind walking. But let's just imagine that we was crawling then. You know that crawling is not our natural state as beings. We are supposed to walk. Yeah, but in our present state then, we are not walking, we are crawling. You know what I mean? Crawling in the sense of what I call our religious servitude, or our obedience to others, you know what I mean? So we haven't figured out yet that we can actually get up and walk. But this is a time, like I'm saying now, for us to, or for I then, because not everybody can realize at the same time that they can walk. But those who can walk, it is their duty to help those who do not realize that this activity can take place. The activity of walking, you know, and then eventually learning how to run as well. But you ain't going to do this, like I say, unless you are what the Christian would call it, born again. And I'm sure of from the firehouse gone over this reasoning of exactly what it means to be born again before. But nevertheless, we'll skim over it here again in this reasoning, because unless you are born again, you are not going to be able to walk. You will remain in the crawling position. You will never grow up. Because you're not supposed to be babies, you know. You're supposed to leave babyhood. But spiritually, some beings then, it don't even look as if I say they was spiritually born as a baby. Never mind leaving babyhood. So anyway, for you to be born again, because you've been born already in it, once out of your mother. So for you to be born again, which is the virgin birth now, because this, you've got to get pregnant on your own this time, whether you are male or female. Or if you don't want to think that you are going to get pregnant, you've got to impregnate the spirit then, whatever way you want to look at it. Yeah, but you'll have to do it on your own and give birth on your own. And it's not a fantastic or difficult process, you know, to be born again or giving birth on your own. It's nothing fantastic. It's just that after you was born first, and the character, I'll call it the ego then, that was you grow up with, instill that you take to be your personality. That is not you. That is the imposter, like I'm saying, that has taken over your innocency what you was born with as a baby, whoever you are, because we was all born innocently. But this ego now, because the world is egoistic around us, was born into an egoistic world. And that was what was instilled in our psyche from when we was children. So now that we are in adulthood, if you want to be born again, which means to be born again is to recover thy innocence that you had as a child, you have to self-discipline. Self-discipline meaning that every being on the planet know exactly what it is that they are doing wrong. Yeah, well, they might do it for whatever selfish reason, I don't know. But they are aware of the wrongs that they are doing. Once you reach adulthood, as we would call it, you are even aware of this, I say, in childhood. But we're not dealing with children here, we're dealing with the adults. Children are not yet ready to be reborn, you know what I mean? They are children. Only adults you can only achieve rebirth when you are an adult. That's when you are ready for it. So I'm not talking about children, I'm talking about the adults who can get pregnant. Yeah, those are the ones that I'm talking about. Those are the ones who can achieve this rebirth. So when you get up into this adulthood, what you call adulthood, when the mind is mature to a certain level, yeah, you are no longer the innocent baby that you once was. You know what I mean? You move on now, and somebody else's ideas have been instilled into this innocent child, and has taken up residency in the home of this innocent spirit, then, if you want to call it that way. And now, this is where the problem comes in now. It's very hard for this innocent, because by this time, this poor innocent baby is way back. You know what I mean? It's completely covered up. And it's very hard for you now to realize or to detect this, that this is who you really is, and not the character that you think you are, that you are so proud of. I think, you know, this is me. No. This is what I call an imposter. And the only way you're going to get rid of this imposter now is to stop the wrongs that this imposter is doing, or this imposter enjoy, which is your own egoistic self, of course. You know, and you know the ego loves enjoyment and indulgence in all kind of thing that is unnatural to an innocent being. You know what I mean? Because the ego is never innocent. He was not there in the beginning, like I'm saying. In the beginning, when we start, it was innocence that we started, not Mr. Ego, who has now infected the psyche of the being and has installed himself within the being. You see, what I call an imposter. And the only way to get rid of this imposter is to realize the behavior of this imposter within thyself. Take responsibility and remove such a character from out of thy psyche. Meaning that we're going to discipline ego, and don't do the things that ego desire, but do what we desire, which is loving what is right and correct. And it's only in this manner that you can achieve the virgin birth. When you, through persistence in doing what is right and loving what is right, one produce the baby that is innocent. Or if you want to call it, returning to roots, which is returning to innocency. Knowing thyself, once a man and twice a child. If you know what I mean. Unless you are as innocent as I will put it in my own way. Unless you are as innocent as when you first born, you shall not enter the kingdom of what you call God. Whatever conception you have in your mind. You know, those are for beings who have born again. You know what I mean? Who have it's like some people, they think that they can, they're not farmers. They wait until the farmer plant his food, then go and steal it. You know what I mean? So you have some imposters, I say, who never plant any food, but they are claiming that they are farmers. They are simply trying to steal the food of the farmer. That is what I say. Are pretending to be farmers when they know nothing about farming whatsoever. But in this world, this is where you encounter all kind of pretense and all masquerade, everything. That is, because in this dimension, it's the natural and the unnatural. And I would more or less say it is the unnatural that is running things. So you have these now who have not returned to innocency, if you know what I mean, or they have not been born again. And yet they are the one now teaching people about this being born again. And claiming that they can lead one back to innocency. You know what I mean? But how can you do this? How could you ever lead one back to innocency if you yourself is not innocent? Because to lead one back to innocence, you'd have to know the way. You cannot lead anyone, right, somewhere if you don't know the way yourself. That wouldn't be leading anyone. You'd all just be stumbling along, well, I say, maybe hoping that you find the way. But if you know the way to somewhere, you definitely can lead others there who don't know this way. If you definitely know the way, you know the road and you know the danger within the road, you can lead someone back to innocency. But those who do not know this way now, they can't do it. Now, if you cannot lead people back to innocency, why would you set yourself up as such a person? You know what I mean? But like I tell you, in this world, you have genuine and ungenuine. So definitely ungenuine folks will do that. And these are the one now that I call the soul capturers. That you come into this world, it's like we come into this world and we're looking for the way back home. And there's people who deliberately set themselves up along the way to convince us that they know the way, knowing in their heart that they do not know the way. And they go through all kind of, like I say, elaborate presentation to convince us that yes, it is pointless using your own intelligence to discover this way or to get back to your innocency. You know what I mean? Because you cannot do it, but the Lord has revealed it to us as according to them. And then, like I say, they have such a ridiculous story to tell you, because they don't know this innocency. Like I'm saying, they don't know God. And yet they are the one now who is educating you about this God, and they're telling you that God sent His Son, or He sent prophets, and so in their mind, like I'm saying, like I say, some reason have to be repeated. I repeated on the last reasoning, but in their mind, God, who is the creator then, or the maker, I don't know which one they want to use, is like man. Because as they say God created us in His image. So in their own idiotic mind, God is like man. So when we build a house, I would say whatever we build, we can leave it and go away. We're not a part of what we are creating, building. So in their own delusion, which you are always deluded anyway when you are not innocent. You know what I mean? Only innocency of a baby that sees the delusion in oneself. So when you are deluded, you can, like I say, imagine all kind of things. So they imagine now that God created us, but God is not a part of us. So God, like I say, I don't know if He's gone further up in the universe, up there, or if He's in their imaginary heaven. Let's say, as according to them, should speak as according to them, God is up in the heavens. So in up there in the heavens where God has His throne, I suppose He's sitting with His angel and His Son and that if they look over, he look down on earth and he see anything going on, and he need anything urgent, I say, he send the angel to come and tell it to man. You know what I mean? Because he's not here to tell man. He's up in the heavens. So if a message have to reach man, God send it through the angel. And he also use prophets, and I think they're saints, you know what I mean? But these prophets must, after when God give them the message to come to earth, they take a long time to deliver it, because they have to be born out of the mother and play about as children, and you know, maybe a lot of them forget the message that God give them to tell to people. You know what I mean? Because it takes so long, the process. Instead of God, he should have just used angels all the time to just send them here on the wings. You see what I mean? But when you are confused, when you are not born again, like I say, your mind can come up with all these kind of delusion. But it deliberately come up with it as well, because don't forget that these beings, like I'm saying, religious people, they are running an organization. They are well organized in their ignorance, then, if you want to call it this way. And they've caused a lot of soul to lose their way, simply because these cannot use their own faculties, and these suck them in, like I say. You know what I mean? I call it living off their energy. You know, there's no way if you was an innocent being, you would deliberately delude beings to make financial gain out of them. I say, you know what I mean? But this is what these religious organization are doing, setting up. If it's one road to what is right and correct, they are everywhere on that road, trying to convince people that they know the way to this truth, and that people should join them, simply because God did send the angel Gabriel. I don't know which one of the angel God used sometime. You know what I mean? Because God cannot do this. As according to them, the stories, you know. Because as according to them, God is not here. God is outside His creation. As according to an innocent soul, God is right here. So as from the position of innocence, you know, all that is idiocy. You see what I mean? We throw away all this story. There's no need for God to send any prophet or any angel if from the point of view of innocency, God is right here within His creation. God being a creator, but not a creator like man, is it? Know what I mean? God is a different type of a creator. So God is always within His creation. Yeah. So you are a part of God's creation. So God is within you. You know what? That is when you're innocent, you know. When you're not innocent now, maybe your God is up in the heaven. Who knows where this God? But when you're not innocent, wherever or whoever your God is an idiot. That God is not the real God. Because you can only encounter the real God when you are innocent. You know what I mean? So if your mind is not innocent and is thinking innocently, you cannot encounter this real God. Yeah, you might go on about some God and you believe in that God, and you believe, but you ain't believing in the right God. Because there is nothing to believing in the right God. You just know God. It's not a matter of you believing in God. And when you know God, you should be able to at least explain how you come to know God. Because God is going to give you lyrics to spit in it. So you should be able to express how you come to know this God. You know what I mean? But obviously you find out that religious deluded men can't do any such matter. All they can do is revert back to their book of knowledge and say John the Baptist and this man say that, Muhammad say that, the Buddha say it, and various disciples say it, and all these kind of things. Because your mind is not innocent enough to see the truth for yourself. You figure? And when your mind is not innocent enough, you can only then refer to what you imagine in your own delusion is some being that was sent by God, you know, some superstar being. But innocence don't see any superstar beings. Or does innocence recognize any beings as any superstar? If you know what I mean. No, in innocence recognize the superstar that is within all beings. But when you are not an innocent being yourself, you know what I mean, or you've not recovered innocence yourself, then you can believe in anything. You know what I mean? Because that is not part of innocency. You see what I mean? When you don't know innocency, then, like I say, any number of God can be your God. And your God can send his son here to die, or he can send his angels, or his, sometimes his saints, and at other time his prophet. And your God would have to send these people as well, simply because he is not here, is he? If you was God, right, and you was not present here, but you wanted to tell somebody something, you either would have to come back yourself, or like you say, you call your angel. Well, if I had the choice, instead of calling one of my prophets or one of my saints, I would call my angel, because they have wings, they fly. They don't look as if they need to be being born before they give their message. They're flying, they're not like the humans. But the prophets have to be born. And the saints, you know, so they take too long to deliver the message. And like I say, because they take so long, they might even forget, because they have to come through the normal process. So I would rather use the angels them. But those beings who are not, like I say, born again, and are telling you about the angels that this God from up heaven sent to you. Don't you notice that you've never actually seen one of these angels? Unless you had some mushroom or acid, I suppose, and you was on a trip, maybe you encounter one then. You know what I mean? But in the modern times here anyway, it look as if God either run out of them, or he stopped sending them, or like the Muslims say, the last one was Muhammad, and that was 1400 years ago. So since then, no one has it. And look how this God is so, dear God is so selfish and ridiculous now. Because at least the world has got a lot worse since 1400 years ago. If anything, now is the time, in these wicked times, when God should send a prophet. You know, like Moses, I one of them man with a rod to part sea and do all kind of thing. Because now man has got really vile. This is the time when man need the help of God, don't you think? And yet God decided, no man, there's one more prophet and that is it, you know what I mean? So, you know. But like I say, those are the stories of those who, I say, refuse to make the journey back to innocency within themselves. So they have compromised themselves and not realize who it is that is in charge of them. That it is actually what I would term as Mr. Ego. So Mr. Ego has set himself up now within the psyche of beings from when they was born innocent, and has created the world that you see here now. The world that we are living in, don't bother think it's the creation of one that been born again, one who is innocent within themselves, or one who is striving towards innocency, one who is trying to live a better life and understand things better within themselves, one who is trying to, like I say, share and understand the world with everyone who is on it. Oh no, this is not the creation of such beings. This world is the creation of Mr. Ego. You know, Mr. Ego is completely deluded, like I tell you. Anything that Mr. Ego is doing in his business, government, religion, anything, sport, anything, everything is done for the sake of selfishness. Because you know that Ego never... Ego is a man that will share things with a few individuals or his family around him. But Ego is not interested in sharing things with all of the members of mankind, as I would say, as are all the members of the family, because we are one family in it, if you know what I mean. But Ego is not a man who would like to accept such matter. Never mind, like, he will never accept such matter, because Ego like to competition and dispute and wars and propaganda and lie and, you know, deceit and all those kind of things. So it is not in the interest of Ego to get back to any innocency. In fact, what Ego is really intent on doing, I say, is keeping people away from realizing the way of innocency, so that Ego itself can carry on this what I call this idiotic game that it's playing, and the innocent child within yourself. You know what I mean? So it ain't going to give that up easy. Ego already know that a man would naturally seek for what is right and correct. So that's why he's give you all this religion. You know what I mean? Obviously he's give you a little bit of good and you think what he's saying is good. But it's just to keep you in his game. Because once you are in his game, you can never get back to innocency. Because Ego is just like I say, somebody on the way to innocency. And if you stop in his mansion, like when you're traveling sometime and you're halfway on your journey, you book into a motel or something like that. Well, when you book into the motel of Ego, you ain't coming out so that easily. If you know what I mean, he'll trap you there. He's very enticing. He's got many games and whatever to keep your satisfy interest. You know, give you some novels to read. Yeah? Let you read a lot of fiction that make absolutely no sense, you know. Just figments of some other Ego's imagination. Oh yeah, Ego is full up of everything, man. There's no shortage, right, of entertainment in egoism. That is the way, that is what egoists do. Hope to entertain you. Then, you know what I mean? So that you don't get serious. How can you be serious when you've been entertained? You've been wine and dine to the fullest, you know what I mean? And Ego flatter you with the lots of women and everything, you know? Flatter the women with men with healthy bodies and say, oh yeah man, they're fit man and handsome and have you living in all this thing. Ego will have you worshipping the body. Oh yes, ego is a self-worshipper, like I say. So ego will tell you how beautiful the body is. Of course. If you look now in say we out here now, you see how every minute they are telling you that, oh yes, she's the most beautiful and sexiest woman in the world. Yeah man, if your pum pum nicer than any pum pum in the whole world, Rasta. Because she look that way, yeah. That's what they will have you. That's what ego is telling you. Know. Ego say, look at me. I am the most beautiful. You know, look at my you know. And having you. And all the rest of ego are saying, yeah. You are indeed, Mrs. Ego. You are the most enchanting and beautiful in the world. But while ego is a funny brethren. If you don't get back to innocency, this man, well, you can't say he's a man, because ego is woman as well. But ego will twist up your mind, you know what I mean? Because like I'm telling you, ego is here now, and ego is the one that, I say, has set the standard, you know, for what beauty is. But because ego, like I say, is not innocence, it's ego is a lunatic, innit? Ego now set the standard of beauty in physicality. So all in these magazines and all, they call it catwalk and all these things now. Ego have these people believing to themselves, right? That, listen man, if you are slim, see me? And I deal with the sisters first. In the egoistic, Mrs. Ego. So they are saying to the sisters, listen, if you have a slim body, right? In the classical European sense now, slim body and thing, and you know, not they don't like them fat, you know, skinny as whatever. That if you are in this classical mode now, then you are one of the most beautiful person on the planet, and one of the most sexiest, of course. You know what I mean? And because it is these type of egos now who I say own the mansion of ego now. All the rest of other egos, the women egos them I'm dealing with. All these rest of women egos now think to themselves now that, okay, if we want to be accepted as beautiful, as a beautiful human being now, yeah, and to be accepted, then we have to follow these egos and model ourselves and them. So whatever the egos look like, who is walking on the catwalk, or who is being splashed over in the magazine, or on the television, or on the video, you know what I mean? Whoever the biggest ego is at the time, or the sexiest ego in the world. So they say, she's the sexiest on the planet. And like I say, every time she's the sexiest on the planet, I will tell you 10 out of 10 is a European who's the sexiest on the planet. So anyway, they are the sexiest on the planet. And you have all these other ego now who think to themselves that, oh yeah man, I'm sexy. And they spend all the time now going into gyms, running, spending all kind of ridiculous money and makeup and all this kind of thing now to let the body appear in what they would call beautiful. Not for the benefit of themselves either. Usually it's to impress other ego. Because all the men are egoistic in it. So they say, oh yes, you've got a nice bottom, look at your breasts. Oh yes. Because we live in here anyway, I say, in a 80%. Well, when you are in the egoistic world, I just call that perversion. Or carnal mind setup kind of thing, you know. Because you're just completely physical in it. Because you're not even aware that anything is spiritually existing in life. You are not even aware that this little beautiful body like you claim making up and thing, that worm is going to eat it. How would you prefer the fire coming for it? I don't know which one of them you want. What burial you want, or maybe you go in the jungle, animal grab you and eat you. But no matter how beautiful you are, where you think you're going with this beauty? So you spend 30 years or so going on about how beautiful you look. Walking sexy. Alright then, all you beautiful women, you beautiful egos I call you, yeah? You are sexy up now and walking sexy, prancing about, eh? I suppose you're going to prance about now, say if you was in your 20s. You're prancing about sexy now, yeah? Wiggling your ass and thing and doing that. Prance about when you're 30. Prance about when you're 40, yeah? Prance about when you're 50. You're still prancing, and you still got a little prance in you. And you're running, getting makeup and thing, yeah? Oh, alright, carry on. Got another 10 years. You'll soon be entering your 60. When you reach there, carry on prancing and makeup, you know? And doing all your sexy thing and, you know, impressing the lads wherever there, yeah? When you reach 70, I tell you what, carry on. I know you're fading now, but nowadays you can go and spend a couple of thousand, a couple of good thousand and remodel yourself back down to about a 50, yeah? And keep prancing about. When you reach 80, don't give up your sexiness, you know. And make sure you keep maintaining that beauty. You see the body how it is now. Don't let it go, don't let it wrinkle, keep it up. When you reach 90, you say carry on. That's if you're not dead long time. Most of you will be dead already by then. Most of you beautiful now. I reach up to 90. By the time I reach there, most of you now who are just imagining that you are just a beautiful piece of flesh. Worm would have eat that piece of flesh. But don't worry, worms won't be eating the real you that you never pay attention to when you was in the flesh. You see what I mean? Because you thought you was this body. I am not saying that one should not maintain one body, you know. Who want to have something and don't look after it and give it the best of care and attention. But not in any egoistic manner. You know what I mean? I love my body, of course. So you mean, who wouldn't love them body? I idiot my youth. So I'm not telling women not to love their bodies. I'm just telling them not to be egoistic about it. And not to use it to impress other egoistic men. And you know, just like if women had any sense anyway, they wouldn't be, when egoistic men approach them, they'll be able to spot them. But they are egoistic themselves. So they are just, they think that life was just to come here and find a man, an egoistic man to look after them, you know. Fatten them, like I say, pamper them and do all this kind of thing. That is just how egoistic people think, you know. You are like I say, this whole idea that these egoistic men has pumped down into your psyche as a woman, to say that, you know, you are the weaker sex and men supposed to look after you. That's just the ideas of egoistic, that I call egoistic idiots. In true reality, in the state of innocency, is a state that for both male and female. And they achieve this state when they stop behaving ignorant, whether they're male or female. It's a simple matter. There is no superiority or inferiority within the creation of God. We deal with equality to the fullest. So a woman is equal to the fullest. She is not equal to the fullest in the eyes of egoists. Because egoists, like I say, they're just body people. So they just see women as sexual objects. And no doubt the egoistic woman see them as the same, see them as just sexual object, because they are ruled by the carnal mind, not by the mind of innocency, if you know what I mean. You can see egoistic, all these politicians are egoistic people, you know, all your kings and your queens and your presidents and all them. That is the way of the ego. Egoistic people, not innocent beings. Like I tell you, innocent beings think differently, speak differently, act differently. Beings that do not know themselves, these are the type that you will find acting as, like I say, kings and queens and presidents and businessmen, and you know what I mean? Those who are the leading singers in society and all those are egoistic beings. And they work for the egoistic system. They are part of the elaborate delusion that Mr. Ego has set up to confuse the soul of beings. You know what I mean? Because don't think that Mr. Ego is a horrible man. And like I tell you, he's got entertainment in abundance. If pleasure is your game, Mr. Ego is your man. Are you a woman? He or she is there. Any one of them you encounter, Mr. Ego or his wife, Mrs. Ego, they are there to entertain you. as long as because they know that as long as you are being entertained, your eyes will be off what you are supposed to do. You know, you won't be focused because you are entertained, you are involved, you are loving your football, man. Every Saturday you are at the match. You know what I mean? You go out and you buy Mr. Ego music. You are one of those who help Mr. Ego to and tell Mr. Ego that he's one of the greatest singers. And he's write some of the classic. That time all he's wrote is some of the classic egoistic songs. Songs that make no sense anyway. Only to the followers of Mr. Ego. Because they're egoistic themselves. So they don't want they wouldn't listen to anything that makes sense. They just listen to the nonsense that Mr. Ego churns out to them. So wherever you examine Mr. Ego, whatever he's doing, like I say, if he what he call the music industry, it's I say riddled with egos. And that's how Mr. Ego love it as well. Because the bigger your ego is, the more Mr. Ego will promote you. If you show a lack of egoism, Mr. Ego says, in fact, Mr. Ego won't put you up front. But if you show potential to be very egoistic, and you've got the talent to recruit more egos, then you are on your way. Because that is how the world of ego work. You know what I mean? It is looking for those who are searching for themselves then, who hasn't even start, but it is looking to stop the search. You see, and give you the answer. Because it wants to, and the reason why Mr. Ego wants to do that, he don't know the way. So it wants to keep you in an egoistic world to convince you that what you see here is how life is. Because this life that we are living here now, you know what has been built up. Don't forget, you know, it's not God that created this one. Yeah, God created the earth and that, but Mr. Ego it's not God who is deceiving, it's Mr. Ego. He's the one playing the game. You know what I mean? He's the one running the system. You know, your bankers, your government, there's a religious man, whoever it is, those with what you call the power, they're the one playing the game, not God. Man like yourself, who Mr. Ego has entrenched himself in and caused them to behave in this idiotic kind of a way that they behave in here on earth. And Mr. Ego being a complete fool, like I'm telling you, doesn't know the Mr. Ego is a man that does, I would say, does concentrate on what is physical, what he can see and hear and touch and feel. He's not interested in anything else. He's not interested in the breath of life because he cannot see that. That's what all Mr. Ego is. Mr. Ego is a man who is advising everybody as best as he can. Listen, man, this is one life. Live it as best as you can, because when you finish, there is no life. I will tell the other one, them, man, listen, man, there is a life here, but you join the church and we'll save you. When you go to heaven. But anyway, Mr. Ego give you the business. That is a deluded thing, because he do not know. You have to listen to those who have recovered their innocency. You understand what I mean? If you want to get the truth of what is going on here. So from the point of view of innocence, you know, that's why I can tell you, don't you listen to Mr. Ego about what he's telling you, and there's no consequences to action and all this business, and you dying going to heaven. Mr. Ego do not know. When you know, you will realize that, oh yeah, we live on, for real. But we have a memory in us recording our deeds of what we do. Nothing like what Mr. Ego telling you about Jesus to die for your sin and last prophet. That's the ego deceiving you. You see, you already got your own evidence within yourself. You see what I mean? You are the one who is supposed to take responsibility for understanding your own being, not what Mr. Ego tell you about Jesus. When Mr. Ego tell you about these men in his holy books and things. You know, it's not them. They are not responsible for your action. You are the one who is responsible for your action. You are the one who is supposed to be correcting your own action. Not going on about what Jesus says and did and never did. Our ancestors, like I said, never know about Jesus. Lots of man in South America and we ever never heard of Jesus. Yet they live and make correction within themselves and understand what was right. You see what I mean? And like I say, the people of Europe here, previous to 2000 years, they never know about Jesus. Maybe, like I say, there was pagans, Druid, witches, whatever you want to call them. But they still know about the Spirit. The Spirit is everywhere in it. You never need when Mr. Ego come up with his religion. You never need that. But you know Mr. Ego is a brutal man anyway. Whether you need it or not, he'll give it to you. Gently or forcefully. So in those times, Mr. Ego, even though they never want it, give it to them forcefully. Because Mr. Ego is determined to stop anyone from understanding what is right and correct. Because if everyone understands what is right and correct, that is the death of Mr. Ego and his illusion that he's playing here. You see what I mean? And he doesn't want to stop playing this delusion. Because according to Mr. Ego, this is power. And he loves what he terms to be power. You know what I mean? Temporary here. But how is Mr. Ego going to feel now when death comes for him? Because Mr. Ego is always trying to find a way how to counteract death. And there is no way to do this. You see what I mean? So he always have to leave. Mr. Ego is here ruling now and going on with himself. Think of the egos who used to run the world 100 years ago. Where are they? Or if you go back in history another, slightly, it was another 100 years, another 150. I go going back in the 1800s, 1700s, 1500s. Not one of these egos are here now, Every one of them swept away. And some of them people, when they was living in them time, being egoistic going on, some of them was afraid of dying, but the fear never stopped them dying anyway. Just like you who are living today. If there's any man living today, or you hear this video and you are afraid of death, forget about being afraid, because you're going to die anyway, innit? Like everybody who died before. It's a natural state of a fear. Your fear cannot stop you. You know what I mean? Forget about believing in what ego telling you, setting up big mansion on the earth and following ambition of achieving in earth and leaving your mark in history. All that is just what ego put in front. You're going to die. And you're going on into the next life. You should be preparing for that life. Not using your life preparing here on earth things that you have to leave and go. That is idiotic behavior. That's what ego does. That's what happened to a being when you don't know who you are. When you have not recovered your innocency. That you should come here on earth and want to set up empires. Those are the losers in life. Because you can tell a man, but I say by what he's doing. So those who have set up these big empires, all those are the failures, egoistic being. But because it's an egoistic world that Mr. Ego has conceived for you. You look at the failures here are championed as winners and role models to be followed. But that's only because of Mr. Ego. Where they're going, they won't be receiving all this applause. They will be receiving what they should really receive for coming here and supporting an egoistic way of life. You see, that's what they're going. You can only laugh in this world, egoistic people. Yeah? And walk on the catwalk like you see and wiggle your ass about, and impress the men or the girls and go on and laugh. And drink and let it drink and and laugh. Oh, and you are so happy together, all you egoistic cowards, I say. You know what I mean? Because you are running things. But death, all of you little egos, I'm telling you, death is coming for you. And when death finally catch up with you, who cares when it does? It could be in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, but it's catching up with you anyway. You definitely have to be removed. And those of you now who enjoy the ego, the days of your life that you should have spent trying to understand life or figure out, you spend it all in enjoyment, yeah? You drink your part, and then some of the egos them, they're still deluded when they reach old. They say, oh, I had a good time when I was young. The only way you can have a good time in life is when you recover the innocence that you once had as a baby. Any being at all who come here and don't do that has lived an ignorant life. Even if they live every day of their life in the laps of what you would call luxury. All you've done is live an ignorant. The more you spend all your life in the lap of luxury, the more ignorant you are anyway. You achieve nothing. I would say most. I say it might be add one out. But all of the billionaires of them has achieved nothing. They're all idiots. Deluded egoists. You know, it's very hard for you to find one of them who's not an egoist, if you know what I mean. But all of them, those who consider themselves rich on the planet, are deluded egoists. Wait until you see what awaits you on the other side when you leave this egoistic world. You know what I mean? Because you must think now, coming here, I'm saying, living as a big, powerful ego. Yeah? Laughing and grinning your teeth, that you get away with that stupidity. Unless you think, like I said, this universe is somehow accidental and that there is no intelligence within it, apart from your little egoistic intelligence and your little egoistic scientists and whatever little other egos are in farming. You can, like I say, Mr. Ego implies a lot. Mr. Ego is a very diverse man. You find him in, like I say, business, church, politics, sport, music, everywhere. There is no part of life that Mr. Ego has not infected with egoism. You see what I mean? Because egoism run things here on earth, I say. You know what I mean? In everywhere, all of them is just one big egoistic system. And all of them are heading in the same direction, where people head when they are egoistic. I'm not saying I know what happened to you when you go in the egoistic way. The only thing that I'm saying is, as an example, we have to live together as beings. Sometimes we even sit in the same room or we meet in the same, we are beside each other. But we are actually walking on two different roads. But while we live in, like the Christian would say, the wheat and the thorns have to grow together until the day of harvest. The day of harvest is when death comes for you. Then we separate. You are walking on the road of egoism, and a man who is walking on the road of innocence. We cannot end up in the same destination. You know what I mean? That's just logical, I say. Where my destination is any being who's striving innocently, and where the other, no one knows. You know what I mean? But you can see that there is a separation. So yeah, there is a separation, and there is a reward according to how one behaves. So those who are egoistic, they should be excited as well. Looking forward in their heart, they should be able to justify their egoism. Whatever wickedness they have done to other human beings, justify it and think, well, I kill a lot of people and I cause a lot of people to be hungry and whatever. I did a lot of injustice. So surely I should be well rewarded for this within the system of the universe. Because Mr. Ego must have convinced you that those who behave vindictively against their fellow human being will be well rewarded in the next life. You know what I mean? Like I've seen some egos say that, oh yes, if you perform a martyrdom operation as an example then, And there'll be virginal, about 70 virgin. I don't even know. Lots of virgin anyway. And nice things there wait for you and everything. You see what I mean? So Mr. Ego can tell people a lot of things. Mr. Ego promised them heaven, and like I say, egoistic people like to hear nice things. So when Mr. Ego tell them that, yes man, heaven man, do this, and all you have to do is go do this man. Kill that man, or do this, or do something, but, you know, martyrdom operation, and you can get a free entry into heaven. You see what I mean? Because God loves people who carry out operation on behalf of God, you know. Because sometimes God would want to kill a man, but before God could do it, the next man do it for God. God loved those things. God reward those men with sainthood or enough kind of things. You see what I mean? Because God is not powerful enough that to actually punish anyone himself. So Mr. Ego don't allow God to do this. As soon as a man transgress the law of God, Mr. Ego deal with him. Punish him, you know what I mean? Because Mr. Ego said that is blasphemy. You know? Mr. Ego don't, and Mr. Ego write his things there in the book. And if anybody question Mr. Ego, say blasphemy. If you step back in history, Mr. Ego kill a lot of people just by saying that. By what Mr. Ego write down there now, somebody question it and say something, Mr. Ego label him a blasphemer and put him to death. Well, obviously in these modern times now, we don't put people to death again. He's trying to move a bit supple, you know what I mean? But before it was blasphemy. And I never know innocence to put anyone away to death because of blasphemy, you know. I tell anyone that day was blasphemy. But trust me, Mr. Ego have all manner of charges, you know. He's in charge. Where God is concerned, don't transgress the law of Mr. Ego. Mr. Ego take these things seriously. Because Mr. Ego is a man that know that God sends some prophets. And if you should say any derogative thing about the prophets, Mr. Ego himself will deal with you. And Mr. Ego have a lot of followers. He say, yes man, that man say that thing, you have to run. All the egos will get together and dust you out. You know what I mean? If you should insult one of what Mr. Ego says is one of God's prophets or one of God's saints. You know what I mean? But God himself has never said, our innocence has never shown a man that yes, this man is a prophet, I was saying. But Mr. Ego create these anyway. And the ones that he create, if you insult them, trust me, Mr. Ego, well you know, Mr. Ego is everywhere. He whips himself up into a frenzy against such individual. You know what I mean? For insulting these beings that he's giving you as God's son or God prophet or God. And this time, like I tell you, all those chatter are the chatter of egoistic beings. If you don't believe it's true, like I tell you, just look how these egos bring Christianity just to Europe alone through brutality. No doubt it was their God who tell them to introduce it that way. Go and brutally insane people's mind with Christianity. If they don't accept it, right, brutally enforce it in them. And anyone that you see in Europe who is pagan, witch or whatever, Druids, kill them out. You know what I mean? That's how this Mr. Ego bring this thing up onto you. And telling you this, that God sent his son here to be so that Mr. Ego and his friend could murder him. You know, and I don't know what that, Ego have a way of telling, I say, some ridiculous story, which, if that was true, it has served no purpose, because Mr. Ego has gone right ahead to create the world that you see. You know, he can even destroy them of so much dangerous weapon and nuclear bomb, neutron bomb, I don't know, hydrogen, I have no kind of bomb in that. While Mr. Ego spins some ridiculous tale about God sending son here and those kind of things. God cannot send any son here. This is 2013. You know, you should recognize these idiocy that this is just ego talking, and get rid of those stupidness about God's son coming here and dying and all. Nothing don't go like that. That's just the talk of an ego. When you have not recovered innocency, you can come up with all them foolishness. But look how many people in the world now honestly is holding on to what I'm saying is a complete, I can't even find the right word, but I'm going to wager a bet again that I'll bet my soul on it. That is a complete load of bullshit dreamed up by Mr. Ego. And I will bet my soul that all the priests who are preaching such, well, if it's bullshit anyway, and I'm willing to bet my soul, that means anybody who is preaching it must be preaching bullshit. How could you be preaching? You can't know the truth because what you're preaching around or what your sermons is based around a load of bullshit. It's the ideas of idiots, those who are egoistic, not those who seriously want to know. But those who are egoistic, weak, want to use others. That's why you have priests in it. Was it God who made these priests? Those are the men, like I tell you. It's not God paying them a wage. It's other men that work for men. They work for other egos. These are sickly little cowards, hiding behind the robe and the collar, pretending to be all piety and holy, and that is just the action of ego, well entrenched. Ego end up believing his own egoicity. You know what I mean? But seen from the point of view of the firehouse or an innocent being, that's a load of stupidity. That's why I'm telling you, I'm willing to bet my soul that all of you, I'm betting my soul in not only those who are living now in the Christian, but all those who gone past before and was priests and followers of such nonsense is now in a dark region. They never reach any light. You know, they might have to come back to earth again. If it was an examination or a test in life, they never pass it. They didn't get in the second class, never mind pass. In other words, they never resurrect in life. They was born, they die, the ego was infusing them, killed them. So that means they was living dead and they die dead as well. They wasn't awake. A lot of beings come into life and never come to life. They die without ever even understanding that they was here, if you know what I mean. Apart from eating, drinking and entertainment and sexing up, which the majority of them are still doing. Not realizing that is a waste of life. Not waste of life to eat, drink and entertain, but it is the way that you are doing it. You'll have a lot more fun if you was innocent. You would enjoy your food better, enjoy everything better, if you just go back to innocency. But you refuse, because you are enthusiastic, you are egoistic. Yeah, you would rather worship and adore the bodies, innit? Glamorous. You're very glamorous, aren't you? You're beautiful, aren't you? The ego's gone so wild that even one time it was only female, right, that would like to beautify up themselves and put makeup on. But now they have beauty salon or unisex salon for men. Men are getting their eyebrows done now, and I don't even know if they're getting their lips done. Who knows? Eyebrows, touch up, and they are in the gym in the 1,000 building up muscle. And I even see a program they was putting caffeine, operating so they can look. So yes, you can see ego. Ego is running really, really rampant here now, that the men have decided that it's not only the women must look refined, but they must look refined. You can't even tell who is the male or the female anymore. They're warping into the same type of a being, because ego's got them all say, yes man, you must make up the body. You only have one body, you must make the body look good. This is the body, and you must have plenty sex in the body, and we, and you know what I mean. But when you really observe that now from an innocent state, this is the I don't know. This is when the soul is completely lost down there in the pits of darkness, due to the action of ego that has been instilled, and the being itself has accepted the behavior of egoism and has fallen, like I say, faster than the twin tower come down to the bottom of the depths of depravity now, and is now enjoying depravity and think that depravity is the best way of life. Because in depravity you can drive, the more depraved you are, it look like the more you can drive a nice car or buy a nice house. And whenever you find yourself can do that now, oh, you drag more people down. All the egos want to be around you. You see these people with the most now and the riches, and you do everything to be around them. When you reach on the next side, I would like to observe how you're going to run them down and want to be around them, yeah? How you admire the queen and that. When you go on the next side, you go there and admire her, yeah? How you admire President, where the boy Obama and the Pope, and every day you in St. Peter. When you go on the side, you go, because the Pope will be shining more than he's a holy man, innit? You followers of the Pope, you go on the next side, and you and the Holy Father and all the rest of Holy Father. I call them the unholy fathers. You go on the next side, right, and join with those unholy fathers. Yeah? In their congregation that they have on the next side. All you business ego, your business, your ancestors are on the next side. They do good business over there, making a lot of money. When you go over there, you will leave this luxury life and join them in that other luxury life that they have waiting for you over there in the next life when death come for you. Yes, man. So you have a lot to look forward to. You don't only have you egos, don't only have the control of the earth here, where your egos allow you to dominate and to rule and subjugate. You know what I mean? Your ancestors has gone on into the ancestral world, and they too who have your same attitude, yeah? When they reached, when they was leaving here, they took a lot of richness with them, yeah? So they are over there in the ancestral world, and they've built up another empire. It is them who run over there. So when you leave out of this life, you will be jumping out of the lap of luxury into another lap of luxury on the other side. That is your reward for what you done here. Yeah, man, ego always get rewarded. Wickedness get rewarded. For all those who you've killed, you must, you know what I mean, you've done good things, because God wanted a lot of people killed, and you was the killer. Killers must get rewarded for killing. Because like I say, you was the, what I call it now, you know that you was the population controller. Life need regulation, you know what I mean? So every so often people need killing, and God appoint you to be the killer. So you must get rewarded now for these killing that you have carried out. Whatever vindictiveness you've done against your fellow human being. You must be rewarded for that, you know what I mean? Definitely. I say you have to be rewarded for such effort, for helping the universal spirit with the work by brutalizing your fellow human being and getting rid of the excess, like how you get rid of garbage, because you know in your heart that God don't need these things around in it, if you know what I mean. So what I'm saying is now though, to those who that is Mr. Ego. But if you want to really get back now to innocence, you've got to ignore that all Mr. Ego is telling you. And self-discipline. Self-discipline is the only road that is going to lead you back to innocency. And it's only in innocency that you're going to understand what is going on here. And save yourself from the delusion of Mr. Ego. Learn to walk instead of crawling. Ego's got you on your hands and knees crawling. You know what I mean? Completely like a child. You are supposed to grow up. Have you ever heard it? Get up, stand up for your right. So this is what you need to know. You need to get up, stand up, and walk. You see what I mean? But right now, you are on your knees, and you will always be on your knees as long as you remain in the land of Mr. Ego. Because no one is walking in ego. People are crawling, you know, like children. Anyway, if you want to remain a crawler, like I say, because crawlers will never grow up. And I don't know no baby that remain a crawler. All the babies I know is always eventually get up and walk. Some might take longer to walk, but eventually they get up and walk and move and grow. You see what I mean? Now, spiritually, I'm saying, you are supposed to get up of you as a spiritual, you got a baby, get up and walk. Eventually you might run. You are not supposed to crawl. Ego is the one who's got you crawling. You see what I mean? And if ego have you crawling, you will remain spiritually as a crawler and never walk. Never learn to run spiritually, never grow. You understand? Anyway, I and I has been rapping, I reckon, for a little while on the matter of recovering the innocent state, you know, and escaping the grips of Mr. Ego. You know what I mean? So I hope in that time that I've been rapping, I've shed some light onto Mr. Ego, and so he's a bit more easy to identify. But a lot of the time, like I say, you know, it's easy to identify Mr. Ego in the movements of others. It is a lot more difficult to detect Mr. Ego in thyself. So while you don't look for Mr. Ego in others, because that is easy to spot, try and identify Mr. Ego within thy own self. And then if you find him there, get rid of him. Because he's the one that's stopping your spiritual development from bursting out. You see, and returning you to innocence. Anyway, if you don't want to return to innocence, hear what the fire is going to do. I am going to return to my abdo of innocency. You know what I mean? It is the best place to reside. When one is residing in innocence, everything is wonderful. You know what I mean? I don't know why Mr. Ego don't love innocency, but for some reason he's anti-innocent. Anyway, I is going to fire out from the firehouse, see? Fade in and fade out. Rastafari, live it.